Next up is Syeda, a freshman who will give you her version of a reality check. So let's hear for her.
It's okay to want things. It's okay to think that you need certain things, but at some point, the wanting becomes too much. Too many people these days seem to be too worried about their little insignificant problems and being oblivious to the actual important matters going on in the world. For example, a lot of us are too connected to our phones. We can't get off them for a second, and we feel really bad when they're not with us. We're always on social media, stuck in the endless cycle of refreshing and liking. And when it comes to Wi-Fi and slow internet, it's a nightmare for some people, which is crazy because it's really not that important, but we make it out to be so. It just seems like since we are all fortunate to have so much, we forget about things that really do matter and our priorities differ from other people. We also spend a lot of our times mesmerized by the lives of celebrities and worrying about what our peers seem to be gossiping about. But the thing is, we don't really need to worry about such insignificant, unimportant things. We need to worry about things that really do matter and not be so oblivious to what other people in the world are going through. People living in third world countries and that are in poverty are presented with an abundant amount of burdens and hardships. The people that are more privileged, like us, have lives that are nothing compared to these people living in such conditions. For instance, when we go home, we are never hungry. We don't go to bed hungry, and we're not worried about what our next meal is. We go home to a fridge and a pantry stocked full with food, and we never have to worry about such things. We also, when we go home, we have a warm bed, an actual bed, and we stay warm on cold nights. We also, when we feel a little sick, we just rush over to the doctor's office and we get prescribed medication that makes us feel better in days. But not everyone has it this way, but we often forget about it. It seems like since we are so privileged to have so much, we just forget that not many people are often fortunate enough to have such things. We do talk about what we're grateful for. We acknowledge all that we have, or at least we do on Thanksgiving while staring down the turkey, waiting to be served so we can go off and do some necessary Black Friday shopping. It's just a little scary for me sometimes when I think about the world around me and who I am because of it. I am sometimes angered by the smallest of things. Just last year, I really wanted to watch the movie Insurgent. It's based off a book, and my friends and I were huge bookworms, and we really thought it was an absolute necessity that we go watch it together. We really planned on experiencing it together, whatever that means, but it was really important to me. And I spent probably weeks planning, oh, we're gonna go to the movie at this time, we're gonna eat this and do this and everything. It was great, and I really thought my mom would say yes because it just seemed like she would say yes. But it turns out that she didn't, because when I went home and I asked her, can I go to the movies? And she said no, and that made me livid. I actually threw a tantrum. I remember whining and crying. I was actually crying because I couldn't go see a movie. I wasted so much of my time and my energy on something so unimportant, but in that moment it seemed really important for some odd reason. But now that I think about it, I realize that I was very wrong. It wasn't a big deal, but why did it seem like that why did it seem so important in that moment? I now realize that I have to change my priorities because your priorities define you, and if your priorities are something so odd, like needing to watch a movie because it's going to complete your life or something, which it won't, but that's okay. I was actually born in a little country in Asia, Bangladesh. Now, I was only 3 months old when I came to America, so granted, I don't really remember much of Bangladesh, but I do know much of it now. It's a developing country, which means it has its fair share of modern cities and shopping centers, but that doesn't mean many people aren't in poverty. My friend recently visited the more rural areas of Bangladesh, and she told me about what she saw. She told me about all the fragile houses that seemed so weak that they were made of straw. And she told me about the starving and malnourished children that were begging passersby for some of their pocket change. What she had told me really impacted me because I realized that I never think about such things because they just don't occur to me. I'm in my little bubble, and everything that's important to me is nothing compared to what these people care about. It's not that we don't have real problems or stresses, it's just that they're nothing compared to these people's priorities. And sometimes it's a real eye-opener once you do get a sense of what they're going through. Now, it's okay to feel angry or stressed out or upset about your little problems. It's okay to feel this way because you are allowed to feel what you feel, but sometimes it's just unnecessary. So the next time that you're complaining about the lunch line or you think about buying a $6 cup of coffee, just stand back and think about all that you have and realize that you're really fortunate for everything, and that maybe complaining in this moment or crying about something in this moment isn't necessary. So in these moments, just give yourself a little reality check.